Okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is start on the Google page, and we need to create FSA IDs and passwords, one for the student and one for the parent. So if you will go and just search FSA ID here. It's the first link that will come up. And right here, create an FSA ID. So Lance, go ahead and click on that.
Perfect.
And this is Federal Student Aid, FSA ID, and you're creating an ID. So if you scroll down just a bit, and those prompts there, let's do our student first.
Okay, and this is just a username.
You create your own username. Mm-hmm.
And we just make this up? This is just a username we make up?
You just make it up. Mm-hmm.
All righty.
Perfect. And then you notice there it's telling you that it's available, because and then the password, and it gives you the criteria.
Perfect. Okay, and then continue.
Perfect. Click continue. Mm-hmm. And then on this next screen, we have to input all of her identifying information. And what will happen is this will get checked with the Social Security Administration, ICE, Homeland Security. There's 6 or 7 different agencies so very critical to get the birth date and the Social Security number correct here.
2002. All right. I've got Liza.
And Liza's here on the phone. Uh-huh.
Say hi, Liza.
Hi.
She's so excited about this. All right, Liza, you know your social? All right, hold on. Let me look it up.
Okay. So this username and password that you're creating, Liza, this is going to stick with you through all the years that you're filling out financial aid forms. You might have to update the password later on for security, but this is going to be your electronic signature that you'll use for the FAFSA, for student loans later if you need or want to use those. Yep.
Sweet.
Perfect.
Yeah. Keep going.
Continue.
Yes. So the email address, this is still Liza's email address that she checks. Some students don't always check all their emails.
Email, okay. The one that
Yep.
she can get access to, right?
Mm-hmm. And then confirm it. Yep. So in going forward, the username that you just created and the email address, those are going to be interchangeable going forward. Okay. So that's kind of nice too.
So you could log in with username or password.
The email address, yep. And this is a new feature. Yep, cell phone number, there's a secure code retrieval system that they added.
Okie dokie.
Okay, one more time. And then that check mark there is you're saying, yes, I do want to have the option to use my cell phone to retrieve my password if I ever need it.
Do I need an alternate phone?
You don't, and you don't even need a mailing address. You can skip those fields. They're not required.
No, perfect.
So you can just go to continue, and it should just send us. Yeah, we don't need a mailing address. Our mailing addresses are going to appear on our financial aid forms. So here we have 3 or 5 challenge questions.
All right.
And these are only to retrieve the password if you ever need or want to.
Do you have a nickname?
Wise.
Yeah, city you were born in is at the top too. Oh yeah, that's a good one.
City you were born
in. It's a test.
Do you remember where you were born? That's the state.
I don't know what city.
City.
I don't know. That's probably not a good question.
Okay, you don't know Will.
Okay.
Hold on, she doesn't know.
What
Let's
color is
see.
the first car? White.
White. All right, where's that at? Right here.
We use that one a lot. Yep.
Yeah. Okay, continue.
Perfect. Okay, so this is just showing you what you input, so you could give it a second look through the information. And and then yes, accept the terms and conditions. Again, no mailing address. We don't need a mailing address on this. Okay, so now, Liza, you should have received a text message to that cell phone number with a code, and we need to enter the code on the page.
012085.
All right.
Perfect.
Verify.
And then they sent you an email as well to verify that email address, and there's going to be a different code in the email.
352316.
Perfect. And it's as easy as that. Your FSA ID has been created. They're going to take a few days to go and check the different checkpoints. There's 6 or 7 of them. And if it doesn't check out, you'll receive a message. If it does, then you're all set to go. So now Lance, one parent in the family, needs an FSA ID, so has to step through this process as well.
Okay, so do I log in?
Exactly, and you are now back at the beginning, and you do this for yourself.
Okay, perfect.
So even though we have 2 parents on financial aid forms, it's just one parent that needs the ID to sign anything.
Alrighty. Okay. All right. Email.
And there can only be one email attached to each ID. So sometimes parents will try to, mom's in charge, she's running the show, she wants everything to come through her, but on these IDs we have to have separate emails for each ID.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh, missed a digit. There we go.
There. Oops. This delay is trying. Okay, so and I don't need alternate phone. I don't need mailing.
Nope, you can skip that.
Okay. But yes. Okay.
Pick your challenge questions. This is nice. There's only 3. There used to be 5. Oh, there is 5. Pardon me.
I think there's only 3 for her.
Oh, 4.
Yeah, 4.
Yeah. And rightfully so. This is an electronic signature for financial aid forms, for loan documents. So we definitely don't want anybody cracking our IDs and passwords.
Yes. Okay. Done.
Perfect. And this is just a, hey, here's your information, confirm and verify.
Okay.
Accept the terms and conditions.
Okay.
And you got a code on your phone. Perfect. And then to that email address again.
Okay, pull that up. Checking for mail. You've got mail. All right, great. Here. 0, 5, 4, 7, 7, 4. Okay. All right. Perfect. FSA
Okay,
ID is complete.
so exactly. So now we can actually go straight to the FAFSA form and start plugging in our information. So from Google, you're just Googling FAFSA, and it's going to be the first link that pops up.
Okay, so I go to Google. Type in FAFSA.
Free application. Yeah, go ahead. Free application for federal student aid. Yeah, there we go.
All right.
Now, the one thing I will say before we get started is people commonly think that FAFSA is an entity. It's a piece of paper. It's an application. So I think that kind of changes the perspective a little bit. For our first year students there on the left, new to the FAFSA process, that's you and Liza. So go ahead and click that Start Here on the left.
So when would you ever come back in to log in as a returning user?
Maybe after you start it and you save it, you don't quite finish, you're going to log into an existing file. Okay. You submit it for first year, and now you need to submit it again for sophomore year. You're going to come back as a returning user and log in to an existing record. Okay. There will always just be one account or one record for the student, and then all the years, the subsequent years forms are going to be in that one record.
Okay. What if you want to add another school? If you come up with more schools?
Again, yeah, once you've established the record, you're going to log in to an existing record and add a school, make a correction if you discover you did something wrong. Those are the two most common things.
All right, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to come over here.
Yep, on the left, first time user.
All right.
Okay, so important point, our parent information goes on the form, but when you have your student with you, like we do, this is the student's FAFSA. So we always start with their information. If we're logging in, we're logging in with their information. We're just mere parents who are providing our stuff and signing at the end.
Okay, so as a best practice, we should always say, I am the student. We should always have our student with us. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. All right, perfect. So this is the student's FSA ID that we created.
Correct.
All right. I'm assuming we accept that. Okay, perfect.
We do. Okay, so important distinction is you're filling out the form for the academic year that the student is entering college. So for Liza right now, this academic year that we're in, 1920, is her senior year of high school. That's not what we're filling out the financial aid form for. We're doing it for her first year of college, which will start in the fall of 2020 and go through spring of 2021.
Perfect. Okay.
So the one on the left.
Okay.
Now this save key is a little benefit for temporary use if we leave and come back. So you create your own and just make a note of that in case you need it.
That's basically like a password or something.
Yes.
Okay.
And this is introduction, instructions, just keep going.
Okay.
All right. So some of this is already populated because we created the ID first. And that was a little user tip to do that. And then phone number.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Now this address needs, you want this to match the address on the tax return that we're going to be using to populate the form. So because we're entering college in the fall of 2020, that means we're going to use the 2018 tax return. So it's a 2-year look back. And even if you've moved, you still want those addresses to line up on the FAFSA. The new address will be all over the admissions applications, and that's what the college will go by anyway.
So even if you that needs to be the address of your tax return.
It does. You want to match it up with the tax return. This question particular, some states have extra aid, so depending on what state you live in, that might be a little bit different. In Oregon, where I am, it asks if they've been here for the past 3 years. So answer it according to the state that you're in, and it'll prompt you. Okay. High school completion status. Yep. This is going to be when our kids graduate high school, they'll have their diploma typically, or a GED. And then this is pursuing first bachelor's degree, so all of our first-time students. And then will you have that first degree before entering in the fall of 20? No, because we're high school students. And grade level, so this we get a lot of questions about because we have a lot of high-achieving high school students who are taking college-level classes. So sometimes families want to select attended college before because they have AP or dual enrolled. No, not the answer. They're still high school students and always are high school students just taking college-level classes. So it's going to be never attended college first year.
Okay. And this is just.
And then interested in being for work study, we always say yes. We want to say yes to every opportunity.
Yeah. Aid. Okay. And this is once again the student.
Exactly. We're still on student information.
Now let's just say that she doesn't have her driver's license number on her. Can I skip this?
You can. That is not a required field. They use it for the Department of Education uses it for tracking. The colleges won't use it at all. So if we don't have a license, we skip it, or if we just don't know the number, it is appropriate to skip.
Hold on. Found the license. Now I just have to find the number.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Okay. So if you can skip it, what's the advantage of putting it in?
There's no strategy. There's no advantage.
Okay. If you have it, might as well put it. All right.
Might as well put it.
All righty.
All right, and if our kids have ever been in foster care, we might have some on the recording, then the answer is yes, if they've ever. And this is important, actually. This is a big jump. Can you show that drop down again? It's high school to college. So, and the question is completed. So completed high school, and then the next level is completed a 4-year degree. If our parents are anywhere in between, then the appropriate answer is high school. And what's happening there is at some schools there's extra money for what they call first-generation college students, and those are students whose parents do not have a 4-year degree.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, yeah. This is the student's high school that they're graduating from. And while you do that, actually, Lance, now that you have go ahead and put the city and state, and then hit that search button rather than the next button. There it is.
Search.
High schools have so hit select there because they all have serial numbers to identify themselves. So that's what we just did behind the scenes. And now you can do next. All right. This is where we would enter the colleges that we're going to want the FAFSA sent to. So every college has that federal school code, which there's no reason why you would know that. You could just search by state and city or the school name down there. And search. Perfect.
And how many?
You act like you've done this before.
How many schools can I add here?
Oh, good question. You may add up to 10 schools to each transaction. So with many students who will apply to more than 10, our record is 36. So what happens is we do the first 10, and when that processes, then we take those off and we add the next 10. And if there's more than that, then we take those off and add the next 10 until every school has been included in a transaction.
Okay. I think I somehow...
Now, this is still for Liza.
I needed to
ahead.
add more schools. I think I somehow went next. So I go back here to selection.
Yes. Yeah, it's very user-friendly. It actually took you to the high school stuff, so just hit next, and then you add more. Yep. There you go. On the left.
Okay. All right. All right.
Yep. Scroll down your page a bit. And then there's a bar. You can scroll down farther through that list because it's giving you everything in the city. There you go.
Okay, so that added it.
It did.
Perfect. Okay, and then I can always
There you go.
add more schools later. Now, if I'm done,
You can. Yes.
Okay, we can come back and add more later. All right, perfect.
Perfect. Now what it's doing is it's asking you to determine the housing status. So on campus, off campus, with parent are the three options.
And some schools require on campus for the first couple of years, right?
They do, and it's a great idea just to connect, and the retention numbers are better for freshmen who live on campus.
Okay.
All right, a little bit more student information.
Liza, you still single? Okay.
Yes.
And then, do you have any kids? No. All right. Good deal. All right. None of those?
None of those.
Okay. Have you been homeless? All right.
Are you at risk of being homeless?
You're
Okay.
homeless. All right.
She is a teenager.
Okay.
Oh, I'm kidding.
As
Yes.
the parent filling this out, she is technically filling this out, so I just click next, right?
Correct.
Alrighty.
Now we're into the parent section. So the 2018 tax return, how was it filed? So an important point here, Lance, too, is sometimes marital status changes in the 2 years since we filed our tax return, and so it is the marital status as of today, and it says that regardless of how the taxes are filed, the marital status as of today that we indicate.
Okay, perfect. Hold on. I think I was married in 1998. My wife engraved it on the back of my ring. Let me double check. Hold on.
Good for her, smart woman.
Yes. Okay, good. Okay, and then this is mine.
Now, let me stop you here. This is first parent is typically a father, but it's who's listed first on the tax return. We want these to sync up.
Oh, so if the mom is doing a lot of the legwork here, and but the husband is listed first on the tax return, you want to put the husband's name, even though the mom's
Correct.
doing a lot of the work here.
Exactly. Yeah, we want parent 1 and parent 2 to match up with the tax return.
Could that be one reason why sometimes that IRS data retrieval tool may not work?
It's one reason. Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
Perfect.
Now, does this email address have anything to do with the FSA ID? Or is it separate?
It does. Yes, I would. We always make them match. We use the same.
Keep the same. Okay. Perfect.
Perfect. Now this is the other parent, so this would be mom in your case.
I need to know my wife's social, is what you're saying. All righty. Okay.
Good.
Okay.
Perfect. And now have you guys lived there for the past 5 years? Yeah.
Okay, walk me through this.
Okay.
I can't
So
change.
this is your household size. So we have right now in the form, we know that we have 2 parents and 1 student. How many more children are there in the household?
Okay, so I have 5 kids, so that would be 4 more, right?
Correct.
Now,
so there's 6,
what if I have
7
an
of you
older
total.
child? What if I have an older child that files their own tax return but lives with us, which I don't?
They're still in the household. So
Okay.
this is where we don't have to sync up with the exemptions on tax returns. This is who's under your roof that you are supporting in one way or another.
Okay, so this doesn't have to sync up with tax return. Okay.
It does not, no.
All right.
Yes. And then that next field is if there's other people, family members, parents,
moved in or something.
you've taken on a niece or a nephew,
Okay.
any other individuals that you're providing support to. And then it's tallying and saying you have 7 people in your home.
Okay. Now I have no kids in college yet, but
now I'll correct you. This is between July of 20 and June of 21. So Liza will be your 1 student in college at that time.
Perfect. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Alrighty. So now.
And then when you filed your 18 tax returns, you already filed them, or you're going to. And you filed IRS 1040 and married filing joint.
Okay.
All right. Now, actually, we can use the IRS data retrieval tool. It's our practice that we don't this first time.
Okay.
And the reason being is when we transfer the information over from the IRS, we don't actually get to see the numbers. It just says transferred from IRS. And sometimes there are errors. It doesn't happen often. So we will always manually enter first, and then if a college comes back and says that they want us to verify our information by using the data retrieval tool, then we have the families come back and use it the second time.
Okay.
All right, so you would click that skip the IRS DRT.
Okay, perfect.
And then from your tax return, line 7 is going to be your adjusted gross income number.
Okay.
Nope, just click next.
What's the income estimator?
That is if you need or want to make estimates. And it used to come into play when we were taking a 1-year look back, but now that we're a 2-year look back, everyone's filed their tax. 99% of people have filed their tax returns. So.
Perfect. Next.
And then this gives very specific instructions of what to pull over. So on our tax return, the parent's wages are combined on line 1, but on the FAFSA, we actually have to break parent 1 and parent 2 out. So the tip here is from the W-2, what is that number?
Okay, so you're saying that my adjusted gross income in some cases could be both, husband and wife, but this wants you to kind of separate it out. So,
this wants you to separate out the wages. So line 1 on the tax return is the combined W-2 wages. And so here we have to separate out those wages for or for parent 1 and parent 2, father, mother.
Okay. Okay.
And go, yep.
Next.
And then this is line 13, so the actual amount of tax we paid to the federal government. There's no state tax information that goes on the FAFSA forms. It's all from our federal 1040 form.
Okay.
And that's line 13.
I remember writing that check very clearly.
All right, so this is other untaxed income. On the FAFSA, we have taxable income, but the FAFSA takes all income. So these are some supplemental questions. Is there combat pay? Is that first one? This second is grants and scholarships. Sometimes an accountant, if we're trying to pull money out of tax-free investments, an accountant might choose to take some scholarship money taxable. That would go there. Generally, all your grants and scholarships are not going to be taxable at all. And this first year, we don't have education credits. Those are something you might take next year. And IRA distributions, tax-exempt interest income.
Okay. Next on those.
All right. Again, if we take in child support or we have co-op earnings, any need-based employment.
Okay.
So the FAFSA is really good about giving the form and the line number, so we can pull those over. This is information that doesn't show up on the tax return. Child support isn't reported. Sometimes we have clergy members who have housing allowances that goes in there. Payments to our 401ks that we make pre-tax, that gets added back onto the FAFSA form, and that comes from the W-2. Veterans non-education benefits, and then if we have workers' comp or disability benefits. So the FAFSA is going to take all income into consideration to fill out the form properly, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so let's explain for a minute the question that comes up where, how do you verify this information, or how do they verify this information, or how do they know about this income? Talk a little bit about the importance of accurately entering in all your information? What happens if you don't?
Sure. So the form is set up, and when we get to the end, the terms and the conditions are very strong. They're very strong. When you sign this form, you are signing, attesting to the accuracy of the information. And there's a statement in there towards the end that says, or punishable by fine and jail time. So it's taken very seriously, and 30% of these financial aid forms are selected randomly for verification by the Department of Education. That's just going to happen. And then if we're applying to private schools, private colleges and universities are going to verify 100% of the financial aid forms that are submitted to them. And that process is using the DRT. Sometimes it is submitting tax documents to the university. Financial aid is a highly regulated thing. There's a great deal of compliance. So if you're selected for verification, it doesn't mean something's wrong. It just means that they have to do their due diligence in case there was ever an audit or someone looked at the file. They need to have everything there and make sure that it's compliant.
Okay, so they can request tax returns and other things. Can they request bank statements and things if they want?
No bank statements, no mortgage statements. It's going to be tax returns, schedules, W-2s, 1099s, those kinds of things.
Okay, perfect. All right.
So as of today, do your assets. Now, assets are going to be, yes, please. Yes. The first one is checking, savings, cash. So just in your personal name. If there's business accounts, that doesn't go here. Second, investments are anything that is not an IRA, retirement account, and not the equity in your primary residence.
Okay, so does this count my 529 accounts if I have any?
It does. It does. 529 accounts go here as a parent asset, mutual funds, stocks, CDs,
So 529
trust balances.
529 accounts are not the child's assets, right? Not
Correct.
the student's assets.
The account will have the child name on it, but it is reported as a parent asset, which is good because it's assessed at a lower rate overall.
Okay, and then if I have multiple 529 accounts for multiple kids, then I add them all up, or just the one for this?
Correct. It's all of them.
Okay, perfect. All right.
Now, if we have one that grandma owns, no, it does not go here. If we have split parents, separated or divorced parents, and mom is doing this form, but dad has the 529, then it doesn't go here.
Okay, and if
that's helpful. Yes, and then if there's a business and there's fewer than 100 employees, we don't include anything.
But business assets are included if I'm filling out like a CSS profile form, right?
Correct. Yes, or if there's more than 100 employees.
Okay. Great. Now this is now onto the student. So if my student does not file a tax return, then I just say no.
Correct.
All right.
Yep, and we're going to skip. Now, some students may not file tax returns, but they do have some earnings.
Okay.
Perfect. And then does the student pay child support or, so these are typically 0.
Okay.
And it will always tell us what we're doing, student information or parent information there at the top. Perfect. So as of today, Liza, checking, savings, and cash.
Alrighty.
And any investments. So like some students will have custodial accounts, then that would go there. But 529s are a parent asset.
Like an UTMA and UGMA or some trust account, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
And if the student has an account with the student or with the parent's name on it, can we include that as a parent's asset?
It's whose social security number is on the account.
Okay.
All right. So this is a review of everything that you've input. We're not submitted yet. It's just putting it all on one page for us to review. And if there's any change that needs to be made, you can click the link in the form on the left, and it would take you right there.
Click here, and it would
Yes.
jump into that page.
It would.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So come all the way down here to the bottom.
Yes.
All right. And I'm ready to click.
And
next.
some families would want to print this for your record. You don't have to. You're always going to have access to it. So click next.
Because I could always log back in if I wanted to, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Okay.
And so this is the student's form. So the student will sign it with her FSA ID that we created first. Yes. There's your terms and conditions. Somewhere in there it talks about the fine and the jail time. There it is at the bottom. If you purposely give false or misleading information, you may be fined up to $20,000, sent to prison, or both.
All right. Fair enough.
Depending on how egregious it is.
We will not do. Okay. Now Liza needs to click the button, right? Okay.
Yes. And now we started the form with her ID and password, so we didn't have to provide it again. It was already there.
Okay.
All right. So now this is important. The parent with the FSA, you're going to agree to the terms, but the parent with the FSA ID is the parent that's signing the form.
Okay. So even
you were parent one.
So let's say a wife is filling this out or assisting the student in filling this out, but she's technically parent two because of the tax return, right? But if it's her FSA ID, then she's signing it.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So then in this case, this would be mine.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so you've accepted the terms, you've signed it, now you submit it.
Okay.
Bam, congratulations. Okay, so right there, here's this data release number. This serves like a confirmation number. If you're ever speaking to a college and they say, oh, well, we don't have your FAFSA, but the college is on the FAFSA form, just give them this number and they can go and manually search for that FAFSA and find it.
So
that can be helpful.
Send this information to the colleges, but for whatever reason they don't have it. This is very,
exactly.
Okay.
Because they have thousands of forms coming in, or
Okay.
So this is the identifier for the FAFSA form. So now what happens is the Department of Education will take 3 to 5 days to process this form and make the transaction file available to the colleges. And then the student applies for admissions, they're accepted, the college will go and grab that transaction file on their own timeline and process a financial aid award accordingly. Some schools are quicker and have a faster turnaround. Others take a little bit longer. So.
Okay, perfect. Now explain to me, scroll down a little bit and explain to me what the EFC number is.
Yes. So the EFC prints as a binary number and doesn't look like anything. But this is, there are numerous calculations and 7 different tables that the FAFSA form pulls from to calculate the estimated expected family contribution. That sounds like a bill It is not a bill. Rather, it is a variable in an equation that the college is going to plug in when each college is processing that financial aid award. So this number for you says $59,948. So a college would say you're able to pay that much. It's always higher than we want it to be or expect it to be, so we're in good company. But they take their full cost of attendance, they subtract that expected family contribution, and then the difference of that is their need. And I think we have other videos that goes into that in more detail.
Perfect. But a lot of people don't even notice that that's on here, right? Because it doesn't even
They
look
don't.
like a dollar amount. Yeah.
It doesn't. It's just a binary number.
Perfect. Excellent.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, done.
Lovely.
Done. Check that off the list.
We made it look easy. It can be very intimidating, but it doesn't have to be.
That was the easy part. Now the hard part's paying for it, right?
Hey, we got that figured out too.
That's right. That's the next video.
Exactly.
Right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very helpful.
You are very welcome. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Liza.
Thank you.
Oh, I already stopped the recording. I didn't get you.
Oh, you're fine.
Sorry.